בעזרת השם. We are כ' פסוק למד. This is the last pasuk of פרק כ'. כלומר, says like this. חבורות פצע תמרוק ברע. חבורות is bruises, פצע, wounds. תמרוק ברע is the outcome, the payment for the bad that is done. ומכות חדרי בטן, and מכות and makot is what? Hits, right? Punches, strikes, right? Hadre baten in the inner, I guess in the inner guts, right? Like punching in the stomach. It's like pretty violent. Shlomo HaMelech. It's pretty violent. Yeah. Okay. So the Gaon says like this. Chaburot and Petza, right? Even the Makot Chabre Baten, which is punching or hitting in the inner parts of a person, like the guts of a person, the cheder of the beten, right? Comes because of the bad someone does. And that's the result of bad actions. Yes? So somebody does an action of ra, a bad action, and the outcome is a bruise, a wound, or an internal like pain that comes from a strike. Says the guy like this. And these are keneged the three different ways a person can do bad. A person can do bad. B'mahashava, his thoughts, b'dibur, with his speech, or b'maaseh. And it says that these are aligned against those three. Petza, Habura, and Makatria. Makatria, which is we'll see the it's like internal bleeding. And that's what Yeshaya also refers to in the beginning of Yeshaya. He says, "Mikav regel ve'ad rosh," right from the foot, from the heel of the foot all the way to the head, and bo metom. There's nothing complete, meaning everything is damaged. Petza ve'habura v'kateria lo zoru, right? The wound, the bruise, and the inner bleeding, lo zoru didn't stop. It says the Gaon like this. Now he explains the pasuk in Yeshaya, and based on the pasuk in Yeshaya, yes, he gives a pirush on our pasuk. See, there is 6 levels in Am Yisrael, and it's based on the pasuk Rashechem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, Veshotrechem, Kol Ish Yisrael. So he says like this: you have Rashi Aida, the head of the assembly. Then you have Enei Ha'eda, the eyes of the assembly. Then you have Pe Ha'eda, the mouth, the porte-parole of the assembly. Then you have Guf Ha'eda, the body of the assembly. Lev Ha'eda, the heart of the assembly. Ragle Ha'eda, the legs of the assembly. Right? So Rosh, Ain, Pe, Guf, Lev, Regel. 6 levels in Am Yisrael. And he's now creating the parallelism with the Pasuk ראשיכם, שבטיכם, זקניכם, שוטריכם. He said, ראשיכם זה ראש העדה. שופטיכם, the שופטים, right, the דיינים, and במאה שעיניו רואות. These are the עיני העדה, the eyes of the assembly. The זקניכם, the זקנים, are the ones that are teaching Torah. So they teach Torah. You need lev and you need pe, the heart and the mouth. That's ziknechem. They include both. And the heart is keneged Torah shebichtav, and the pe is keneged Torah shebe'al pe. Right? Because the heart is hidden. That's Torah shebichtav. The secrets of Torah b'sheitav, they're hidden. And Torah shebe'al pe is the pe, it's obvious. Right? So that's ziknechem. Shoftechem, shoftechem, shoterechem, the shoterechem, these are the raglei ha'eda, right? The shotrim, they go around to make sure that law is in place. That's the raglaim. Okay. So we have, I think, all of them, right? Nachon? We have all of them. So now he says like this. Back to our to the pasuk of Yeshaya. Mikaf regel ve'ad rosh en bo metom. So he says that he cannot find in the body from the regel, from the heel of the regel all the way to the head. Yes, Yeshaya was not able to find something complete. Metom, milashon tam. Everything was bruised. Everything was hurt. Meaning all the sixth level of Am Yisrael, yes, were stained and contaminated and corrupt. And he says there's three ways each level can be corrupt, can be hurt, can be in pain, right? Can be a victim of their own bad behavior. It could be petza, like we have in our pasuk. Petza is a wound, an open wound, right? So it's that bleeds. Habura, it's a bruise, right? So the blood is coming is coming to the skin, but didn't get out of the body. Makat riyah is an internal bleeding that is not seen outside. Okay? Says the Gaon, these are depending on the type of resha of the person. Okay, it's very technical. Again, depending on the rishut of the person, yes, the outcome will be or an open wound, or a bruise, or an internal pain, or an internal bleeding, all right? So he says like this, Reshaim befaresia, right? If somebody does actions of resha in a clear way, like he doesn't care, that's the open wound. Yes? So that the lo alenu, the outcome is, yes, an open bleed, a wound that's bleeding outside. The second one, somebody that does averot, yes, and doesn't show it so much. So he's not behaving like a tzaddik, but he's not also not caring to do whatever he wants befaresia. So that's the bruise, right? So the blood is coming up, is seen in the body, but it's not coming out. And the third one, is the one that is that has rishut in his machshavot. He has very bad intentions, bad ideas. He has sin'ah, he has kin'ah. And these are not, you cannot identify them really because it's in his mind. So these are the internal bleeding, right? That's the internal pain. Okay? So says the Gaon, Shlomo Melech tells us that depending on the type of rishut, of ra, the person does, there will be a punishment. Beseder? Clear? An open action of rishut will lead to an open wound. A rishut, but not in the eyes of everybody, but still an action, but it doesn't do it in the public. So these are internal bruises that can be seen. Meaning it's a bruise, is a makah from inside that can be seen outside. And then the machshava, if somebody sins in his machshavot, he has bad machshavot, right? So it's internal; it cannot be seen. And again, yes.
This is directly to the individual with the thoughts, or it could be, can we go deeper and say it could happen to anybody around them or their loved ones?
No. That's to the person that has the rishut in
Or
his thought.
the
Yes,
action or whatever it is.
that's right. That's right.
Not more, okay.
Yes. And says the Gaon, Lo zoru, yeah, it says Lo zoru, meaning there was no cure, meaning that there are three cures to those three problems. There's three types of doctor. Says the Gaon, there's three types of doctor. You have one doctor, which is a Rofeh Hacham. He's a smart doctor that will give the medicine, right? So that now all the bad blood and the infection goes away. So he cures the problem from within. The other one is he cannot take away he cannot deal with the problem from within. So what does he do? He puts a band-aid, right? He's gonna take some band-aid and he's gonna close the wound. The third one, he's trying to put some water on it, right? Just to clean it a little bit, but there's no real refuah to it. So obviously, those three doctors, right, will address the same problem in a different way, right? These three doctors address the wound in different ways. One will cure the wound with medication, antibiotics from within. The other one will just solve the problem from outside by putting a band-aid. And the third one is just cleaning up a little bit and trying not to make it worse. But he's really, the wound is open, the blood is coming out, right? He's just trying to stop for it to get worse. Says the Gaon, this is compared and parallel to the Avodat Hashem shel Adam. Says you have one person that works from within, that works on his midot and works on purifying himself, yes, on purifying himself and changing himself from within. And that person that's trying to purify himself from within this is the Rofeh that fixed the problem. So he's going to go and fix his midot. Okay? And he's going to change the ta'avot, the disgusting instincts, that the instincts that are to the disgusting stuff, ideas. And the outcome is what? Is that he cures the problem. He's no longer going to do it. Then you have another person that approaches the problem. He says, look, to uproot, to uproot the bad midah, I can't. But you know what? Let me create a second nature by behaving a certain way. And by behaving a certain way, now I no longer gonna let my instinct take over, right? And now his second nature becomes like the band-aid on top of the root of the instinct, which is the problem. Yeah. So he bypasses the problem by developing a second nature and another behavior. So that's an avodah that is mibachutz. It's an avodah, but it's avodah mibachutz. At the end, the instinct is still within him, and at the end, the instinct can kick in at any point. The third approach is that the person he doesn't have a second nature. He cannot deal with the avodah mibifnim. What does he do? When the problem happens, he deals with it. If the Yetzer Hara kicks in, the Ta'ava awakes itself, he has no choice. So he'll deal with it when the problem comes. And he'll try to overcome the issue, not to yeah, not to fall for the Yetzer. And how is he going to do that? He's going to learn Musar. He's going to think about the punishment of the Avera. He's going to think about Yom HaMitah. Yeah, he's gonna distract himself so that he can find the motivation and the clarity that he needs at that moment to overcome the Yetzer Hara. But the Yetzer Hara is boiling in him. Says the Gaon, based on the pasuk in Yeshaya that we said, Yeshaya saw that no matter on what level you are in Am Yisrael, yes, whether you're the Rosh of the Edah, the Ain of the Edah, the Pei of the Edah, right? The Lev of the Edah, the Guf of the Edah, the Raglaim of the Edah, right? Doesn't matter. Everybody says everybody was contaminated. Says the Gaon, everybody, yes, is subject to that to one of those makot, to one of these outcome, the wound, the bruise, or the internal pain. Why? Because says Ishaya at the end of that pasuk, he couldn't find anybody that actually cures the problem from within, from outside, or even deals with it. So says the Gaon, Shlomo HaMelech comes to create an awareness, an important one, that no matter who you are, and no matter what you represent to the klal, you are exposed to your own Yetzer Hara. And if you are exposed to your own Yetzer Hara, you are vulnerable to one of the outcome of the influence of the Yetzer Hara. It will depend on what type of Ra the person will do. Is it a Ra b'machshava, a Ra b'dibur, or a Ra b'maaseh? And now, depending on the Ra that he's going to do, okay, there will be an outcome. So comes the Gaon or Shlomo HaMelech and says, choose your path to grow a Rofeh within you, right? Develop within you your own doctor. Yes? And he tells you how to do it, Lemase. The ultimate doctor is the one that's able to solve the problem of a tava, of a problem from within. But it's hard to start from there. So what we're learning is to start from the bottom of the ladder, which is what? Stern, like that's your emergency, right? Last resource, Musar, Yom HaMitah, Onesh and Yom HaMitah, right? Have access to learn Musar, have clarity to think about what is the punishment of a failure, of such a failure, and what happens after 120. That should be your last resource. And after that, build up, continue on building, build yourself up. Have your doctor do now, he has to do a master's, a specialty. And the specialty, right, practice, or I don't know how they call it, of the doctor, yes, is what? To develop a second midah. Start behaving, creating a behavior that is specifically developed to bypass a weakness. If it's in a weakness, b'machshava, b'dibur, or b'maaseh. Somebody that has a problem with lashon hara, then he should develop a behavior of maybe not talking at all, or not talking. If he knows that he speaks lashon hara at home, or he speaks lashon hara at work, or he speaks lashon hara in shul, whatever it is, so he creates a behavior that if he's in shul, he doesn't talk at all. He doesn't talk in Bet Knesset. Okay. Or to each their own way. I don't know, but he has to. Says the young, you have to build and develop a teva sheni, right? A second nature, so that you can bypass that problem. And that second nature is specific to the ra, right? That comes from that weakness. Again, if it's bedibur, bedibur, b'maaseh, b'maaseh, b'machshava, b'machshava. And eventually, once the person has that in place, now he has to go for the PhD, yes, and rise to a higher level, which is the level of uprooting completely the Yetzirah, that Yetzirah, meaning changing that ta'ava, changing that instinct completely. And understand to the point that if there is such an awakening, it's disgusting. You hate it. You're disgusted by it. You can't tolerate it from within. And that's the ultimate protection of the Ra, which now heals the person, yes, and protects the person from any of these outcomes. The way to apply it is like a person does a heshbon nefesh. Okay, a person does heshbon nefesh. He finds that he has a weakness. He starts addressing that weakness. Yes, that specific weakness, grow from it, meaning right? Apply the avodah that we said until you get to the top of it. But try to make sure that the avodah that you do on that specific weakness, yes, is an avodah that protects the problem from all three angles of a person, from ma'aseh, dibur, and mahshava. You understand what I'm saying? Like, although you have to create this three-step process, yes, with your problem, whether it's machshava, dibur, maseh, but make sure that the process that you develop, yes, is applicable across all three behaviors. So you build from the maaseh. There's no more of this maaseh. You elevate. There's no more of that dibur. You elevate. There's no more of that mahashava. You understand? So you work on it internally in the category of the behavior, right? The expression of the behavior, but you make sure it's applied on all three categories. Can give you an example. If a person has an issue with kedusha, okay. So first, he has to make sure that we understand the three levels that he has to do from within. Yes, he has to make sure that if there's a yetzer hara, he thinks about the onesh. He knows how to read Musar. He thinks on everything. Okay, and now he stopped it. Yes, he stopped it. Now b'maaseh. Then he's gonna raise the level in the category of maaseh, and not only he's not gonna do any maaseh, right? He's not gonna put himself in a dangerous position or dangerous situation, but more than that, yes, he's gonna develop a behavior that if the issue, the problem is uh, uh, work or uh, 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 a boss or I don't know what. So he's going to change his behavior, right? Now he's going to take the car or he's not going to stay too late or I don't know what. Yes. Eventually, yes, he will also understand how painful, how horrible, how disgusting that behavior is, to the point where pitom that such an idea would come to his mind from the action. The action, the body is no longer needing this. Then he has to make sure that that applies also by machshava. That not only that his body is not used to it, but his mind his speech also is used to it. That he's not going to talk about it. And eventually he's not going to think about it. Okay? And that's the avodah. This is an avodah of life. This is not something that happens overnight or in a short period of time. But that's how you protect yourself from these outcomes through a structured, planned program. And to each person there is a you take it and you break it down. Okay, how am I b'machshava with that yetzer hara? How am I b'dibur? How am I b'maaseh? And then apply in each category, right? Do I have a safety net? Do I have a second nature? Have I conquered the instinct from a maaseh? Then dibur. Again, all three levels. Do I have a safety net with dibur? Because that's a different approach. Do I have a second nature that helps me with the dibur? Have I uprooted the issue bedibur? And then you get to mahashava. Same thing again. Safety net b'machshava. Second nature b'machshava. And then uprooting in b'machshava. That's how you solve the problem. And Imam says, according to Shlomo HaMelech, this is how you save yourself from those physical pains, right? Punishments. Ken, any questions on that pasuk?
Rabbi, curious and דיבור, מחשבה, דיבור ומעשה.
I didn't understand. I didn't hear the question well.
You mentioned that you have to structure it and take care of the מחשבה, דיבור ומעשה. Can
Ken,
you give us an example?
like I said, somebody that lo alenu did. Okay, somebody eats non-kosher. Okay, somebody eats non-kosher. That's b'maaseh, nachon. So first he's going to learn musar about non-kosher, the punishment of eating non-kosher, about what happens after 120 when he eats non-kosher. That's it. Then, let's say he has a weakness for I don't know more, for hamburgers, non-kosher hamburgers. So if he knows that the 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 the, the path that he takes to go to work or to go back home, yes, you have those restaurants that sells those hamburgers. He's not going to take this path. Okay, he's going to take something else. He's going to go another way. Yes, and he's going to create a second nature. Eventually, yes, he's going to work on understanding how disgusting that behavior is, how disgusting that ta'ava is, until he uproots it completely and physically doesn't want it. Okay? So he will deal with it now physically. He doesn't eat from it, and he doesn't want to eat it, and he doesn't understand that's disgusting, and that's it. Nigmar. That's b'maase. But maybe b'dibur, it's something else. Ma kavana b'dibur? Maybe now, when he speaks about it, he's still vulnerable. Yeah, the actions no longer trigger this yetzer, but maybe through the dibur the yetzer can wake up. So he has to rebuild now the same thing with dibur. Understand it's not good to speak about it. Create a second nature, not to talk, not to mention these words, or not to talk about the subject. I don't know. Yeah. Until afilu bedibur, it doesn't yield a machshava. And then b'machshava, the same thing. You shouldn't think about it. Because all these three expression of the person, at the end, if there is a root of ta'ava, yes, it can express itself in one way or another, and then le'apil et ha'adam b'chadash, and take down the person. How many people, how many people go through lo alenu, they in drugs, they go 12 steps, they get out of it, go to meetings, they go this, they go that, and they clean for years. Yes? And then lo alenu Hashem yishmor, because of a dibur or because of a bad thought, they plunge again. It's because they fix the physical problem. They may have fixed also the speech issue and speak motivational thing and not talk about it and not talk to those people and what. Eventually, if they didn't fix it, the machshava, if the machshava is still in there, that machshava, that thought can take them down. Happens a lot. We know a lot of people that were very clean for many, many, many years, and then a bad day, okay, and sadness and a bad thought. Next thing you know, they're back into it. Okay, that's a good example, a clear or clear example. מתן,
כן, תודה רבה.
השמיעני את קולך. טוב, כבעזרת השם. I'm gonna read, לא נעמוד על הפרק, ברוך השם בסייעתא דשמיא. That was a quite long פרק, פרק כ'. we're משלים פרק כ', we're going to start פרק כ"א. טוב, פלגמיים לב מלך ביד השם. על כל אשר יחפוץ יתנו. we'll see how הקדוש ברוך הוא controls the לב מלכים, בעזרת השם. בסדר. Any questions?
Amazing. It was beautiful.
ברוך השם.